Let it rip.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to let it rip.
Full send.
It's going to be a full send. And if you're sensitive and if this bothers you, you're one of the people that I'm about to talk about.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, just disclaimer. Like if this bothers you, you should go look in the mirror and know that you're the person I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, and here's the cool part is that there's not a state out there that's more veteran friendly than Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. It's turning purple real quick though.
Yeah, hey, but here's the cool part is it's like
from Californians too.
Well, like it is. They're all fucking moving here.
California.
But like the cool part about Texas is like here's the cool part is that the only reason it's turning purple is because Texans are allowing it to turn purple, right? Like even the Democrats have to be in check down here. You know, and then worked my way. I worked in the industry a little bit, and then I got a call from. I went back to work for construction, and then I got a call from the president, and the shit show.
Yeah, how'd that call go? I've read about it. I mean, you're at work. Did you actually tell him to call you back at lunch? I mean, did that really happen?
I was fucking busy. I hope I go the rest of my life and nobody ever tries to kill me again. Like I hope I go the rest of my life and I never have to take a life again. Like I hope I go the rest of my life and I never have to see that level of evil ever again. I hope I don't ever have to point a gun at somebody in vain ever again.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Veteran Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Brewer, owner of DotMil Gear. Here I got the one and only Dakota Meyer, Medal of Honor recipient. I'm also joined by my co-host, Elvin Lantigua.
Go on.
Dakota, it's an honor to have you here. I appreciate you coming on. It's been a struggle to get in touch with you. I'm like going back and forth. I'm like, man, is this going to happen? But here he is. He made it happen. He's a man of his word.
I told you.
Yeah, he puts his money where his mouth is. He's always talking about helping veterans. And listen, I'm nobody. He messaged me back and he told me he'd come on. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you thinking of. I appreciate you letting me come on. You know, I mean, that's your risk. So wherever this goes, it's on you.
I love it. So you got in the Marine Corps 2006, 2010. You got out. Obviously, you received the Medal of Honor in 2011. When you were getting out on a medical discharge, or were you just actually hitting your EAS?
So I hit my EAS and I came home. Honestly, I'd gone on this deployment and wanted to leave my sniper team in order to, I felt like this deployment on an embedded training team, I was looking at going to do the selection assessment for MARSOC. And so I was young though. I mean, you take my first deployment, my EAS date I was 21 years old. And, so, in the special operations community, I mean, the teams are usually older or they've had a career in the, you've came from recon on your first, first tour, whatever you want to call it, like your first enlistment. So me, like I had that working against me and I felt like that I could grab some maturity side of it and be able to have more for my resume if I had gone on an embedded training team to be able to bring something more to the table on a selection assessment board when they asked, why would I take this young kid, right? And that was kind of my goal, right? Like I was going to re-enlist on this deployment, going to come back, go to selection assessment and, go from there. But then, all this shit happened. I got sent home from Afghanistan. So then when I came home, I was like, I got back to my unit and it was probably May. Yeah, probably like the middle of May. My unit, I actually jumped back in with my sniper team and my unit was getting ready to deploy again. And I was like, I'm going with them. Like, why couldn't I go? I'll re-enlist. I'll re-enlist today if you'll let me jump on this bus in a week and go with them. Like, I don't need to do another workup. I just came off of a deployment. Like, I'm like, send me, let's go. And they're like, my platoon was all about it, right? Like, they're like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Like, you step in back into a team leader position and let's go. And yeah, I don't know where it came from, but like, they're like, yeah, this is not happening, right? And so I said, well, fuck it, I'm getting out. So I got out. Yeah, right. I mean, I got out and I was like, I just got out. I said, you know, if you're not going to let me deploy, you know, and it was kind of weird for me. Like when I came back from Afghanistan, I literally reported to the 3rd Marine Regiment
Headquarters.
headquarters to Colonel Bierman at the time, now General Bierman, and a sergeant major over there. Like I literally reported to the top 2 at the base. Like I didn't have to show up to formations. They didn't give a fuck. I went, like they wanted me to come in their office. Yeah, I mean, it was a shit show, right? And that, you know, I wanted to be a normal sergeant. I wanted to go back to doing my job and stuff, and it just wasn't happening. So I was like, look, I'm getting out. I'll go figure it out. You know, I joined the Marine Corps to fight, and if I can't do that, I'm out.
It does change,
So, yeah,
like that feeling, like with everything your accomplishments actually kind of change your status. Like you might be a sergeant, but it's kind of like an elevated position on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I was a corporal at that time, and I mean, I wanted to operate. Like that's why I wanted to operate. Like I liked it. Like my life I was dedicated to it, and I lived for it. And you know, when you took it away from me, it was like I'm out. You know, look, a lot of it was a maturity problem on my side of it, 110%. I probably could have stuck it out, but I didn't know I was getting the medal. I didn't know I was even in for a medal. I had no clue. I mean, honestly, I was still waiting to get reprimands for disobeying orders is what I was waiting for. So, you know, like, and I thought that's why I couldn't go back was because of that piece of it, not because of anything else. Thank God I didn't re-enlist in the military, because the only thing that could have been worse than getting a Medal of Honor was getting a Medal of Honor and having them have a contract on you. I mean, you imagine what the Marine Corps could do to you there, right?
Yeah, you would have been exploited.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got out. I mean, I got out of the Marine Corps, and you know, I went to work for a couple companies, and you know.
So what did you do when you got out? I mean, because you were planning on getting out. Did you? I mean, you're from Kentucky. You went back to Kentucky, right?
I did, but I had a buddy who was a sniper. Who was one of the sniper team leaders before me. He was one of my seniors, and he worked for a company called Oscar Technologies. So I went to work for them, and like I got to train snipers and route clearance guys on thermal optics. Right, pretty cool gig. I loved it. Loved the technology piece of it. Loved the gear piece of it. So I did that, and then you know, and then worked my way. I worked in the industry a little bit, and then you know, I got a call from. I went back to work for construction, and then I got a call from the president, and then a shit show ever since.
Yeah, how'd that call go? I've read about it. I mean, you're at work. did you actually tell them to call you back at lunch? I mean, that really happened?
I was fucking busy. So the whole story of it is like, it's typical Marine Corps fashion. You know, you get out and you don't look back at the Marine Corps, right? You're one of those pissed off veterans that fuck the Marine Corps, you know, blah, blah. You know, the entitlement, I think a lot of us get out, and in the first beginning of it, it's entitled, like, I went to combat, fuck nasty civilians. You know what I mean? You still care over. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I rate this beard.
Yeah. I rate this beard, right? I'm just going
to. Fuck are you complaining about?
Yeah. You know, I mean, like every response you have is like, you don't know what it's fucking like, right? Like that's
you ever shit in a bag?
Yeah. You ever just a fucking bottle, right? Like, yeah. You know, and you're just, when you look back at that, you're just like, gosh, I was a piece of shit, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? And so the Marine Corps, typical fashion, I don't hear from them or anything. And then all of a sudden, I'm living in Austin, Texas at the time, and I get a call from Headquarters Marine Corps. And now you got to understand, there was all kinds of rumors, everything from I was going to get charged with murder to there was I'm still going to have to pay for disobeying orders. You know what I mean? Like it was everything, right? So like I get a call from Headquarters Marine Corps, and they say, hey, we're sending, get this. I mean, we're sending a colonel that needs to come talk to you. I don't know if I've ever fucking spoke to, you know, outside of Colonel Bierman. I don't know that I'd ever spoke to a fucking colonel of the United States Marine Corps anyways, outside of yes, sir, no, sir, aye, sir, yes, sir, no, sir, right? Like, so why are you sending one to my house? So they wanted my home address, and there was no fucking chance I was giving them that.
And the neighbor across the street to see what they're doing.
Peeping out the window.
So I honestly thought they were sending Jag. Like, I honestly thought it was going to be Jag, right? And I'll never forget my buddy Jerry. We were real close. We were working together down here. And I told him, I said, man, so I told him I would meet him in Austin. There's a white airport, the Hilton, that's right next to the Austin airport. I said, I'll meet him there. And I'll never forget, man, like, I went there with the intentions of they might get me, but it ain't going to be today. I backed my truck into the spot. I got there an hour early. I watched everybody walk into that place to see if they were having cops there, if it was a bunch of, you know what I mean? Like, and then I see this Marine walk in, and I'm like, okay, so there's one, and there's no cops out here and stuff. So I walk in, I sit across from him. I go in, and I go, hey, what's going on? And his name was Colonel Otto Rutt. Otto Rutt, I'll never forget the guy. Really good guy. Love the dude. Just incredible human being. We turned out to be close friends, and he sits across from me. He's got this white binder. I'm like, oh, fuck. So he's like trying to small talk me and stuff. And I'm like, listen, let's just get to it. Like, what's the fucking deal? I mean, cause like in a line company, headquarters Marine Corps is like this, like, that's like heaven, right? Like
fucking Narnia.
It's only something that it's Narnia, right? It's only something that you hear about, you don't ever need to be nothing from it. Right. And he opens up this binder and he's like, okay, well, we need to do some planning. And I'm like, here we go. Is it going to be getting attorneys or what? And so he opened up this book, and I could see this blue. I mean, you look at the Medal of Honor blue, and like it's something that's very distinct, right? Like it's something that we can pick. And then when you see those stars in the middle, like it was like the header of the paper. And I look at it, and I thought it was maybe for somebody else, right? Like maybe my guys or something. And he goes, we need to start planning an event. And I'm like, oh, for what? He's like, well, you're going to be receiving the Medal of Honor. And I was like, do you know who I am? Like, I don't, you probably got the wrong guy. And he's like, no. He goes, actually today, the Secretary of Defense signed off on it, and he will be walking it. It'll be I don't know how they do it, but it'll be taken straight to the president's office, and the president will be signing off and approving it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to accept it. And he said, well, you have to. And I said, I'm not under contract anymore. This is not the way this works anymore. And I said, look, I know a lot of buddies of mine who, after they got out, they mailed their awards to them. Could you just do the same to me? And they're like, no, like we're going to have a ceremony. You're going to have you got 250 spots that you'll invite people, and it's going to be this huge ordeal. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, Dakota, I don't think you understand. Like, from this point on of me talking to you, your life will never be the same. And I said, no. I said, you're wrong. I said, can we just negotiate? Can you get them to break it down to a Navy Cross? Nobody will ever know my name. And then I can just roll on about my life. And he goes, no, it's bigger than that. And I remember I got really pissed off at him, and I said, he goes, so who would you want to invite? And I said, well, I want to invite my teammates, and that's the only ones I want there. And he kind of just looked at me, and we went back and forth, and I kind of got pissed off about it. And I said, I'm not gonna show up and accept this medal. Like, what are you gonna do? Come arrest me? And he said, well, the president of the United States thinks that you deserve this medal, and everybody else who's in the chain of command that's rolled off on this. And they think you're a hero. And I go, well, if they think I'm a hero, why don't they call my fucking teammates and tell them that? And I got up and walked out. And the Marine Corps they played the smart play on it, right? Like they backed off a little bit and came back around, and we finally negotiated. And I said, I'll have it if at the exact same time that we have this ceremony, you'll have a ceremony for all my teammates. Like at their grave sites, you have to have a ceremony at their grave site. at the exact same time I'm getting the medal or I won't come. And so they're like, well, we can coordinate that and do it. And so like while I was getting my Medal of Honor, they were having the same thing at each one of my teammates' gravesites. So it was pretty badass.
Yeah, that's incredible. Where are they? Are they all essentially buried in the same location?
No, you had them Georgia, you got the ashes were spread in Oregon, California, one's on a reservation, or that not my teammate, but he was there that day. And then where's the other ones? I think it's in New York, Buffalo. Yeah.
Damn, that's incredible. That's a crazy story. So he just dropped it on you casually like that. Like, by the way, you're gonna be getting the Medal of Honor. It was just that sort of casual.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Marine Corps was as lost as I was, right? Like there hadn't been a living Medal of Honor ceremony or how to deal with this since Vietnam, right? Like, and you talk about, it's a whole different ballgame. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, you got Jason Dunham who got it, posthumously. His family got it, but they've never had to deal with somebody who, they've never had to deal with the living recipient, right? And how do you navigate this media tour? How do you, it was a struggle for the Marine Corps to, how do we do this right? Like nobody was going back and trying to fact check every little detail and nitpick the Medal of Honor recipients from Vietnam, right? Like when I see people, well, so-and-so individually killed a battalion of, no, he didn't. Get the fuck out of here. A battalion? Like if a battalion couldn't kill one fucking dude, give me a break, right? Like that's called a good buddy helping you out. Like, yeah, you probably killed a bunch of dudes, but you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. And now it's more criticized. There's more, like, it's like everything, right? It's like, look at politics. Like I can find something bad about you and they do the same shit with their award system. It's so fucked up, right? And then, on the backside of it, you got every person out there like, oh, I did more than you. Okay, man, I didn't ask for this, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's just it was a unique struggle that we all learned from.
Yeah. So, you're going through and doing this media tour. Like, what's the mindset like? Because you're obviously uncomfortable about it. It's obviously making you uneasy. You didn't really want to accept it, but yet you still have to kind of go through this dog and pony show. And like the guy said, your life is forever changed, even though you may not have realized it at the time.
Yeah, and I didn't. Man, I was a shit show. You go back, just Google my name. Go back to 2012. 11, 12, right? Like, and it didn't help that, look, I'm fighting my own demons. I'm trying to figure, like when I hear people talk about living with PTSD, go live with it when you got every motherfucker in the United States looking at you and talking shit about every mess up you have, right? Have a bad day. Go have a bad day. And then be talking about the worst day of your life and trying to have people question you on it, right? Like, you just
bring it up 1,000 times a day. Jeez.
Yeah, all the time, right? So like, and then do that at 22 years old. Think about the dumb decisions we were making at 22 years old, and imagine having a microphone to the world.
Oh man.
It's just and you're not prepped for it. Like I was a sniper. I spent my whole life trying to not be seen and trying to, you know what I mean? And then next thing you know, like I'm having to walk up in front of crowds and speak and with everybody nitpicking and then you get like, it was crazy. Like it was, I go from being on a construction site to nobody giving a shit who Dakota Meyer is to being on David Letterman, USA Today, 60 Minutes, to being on Fox News, 2 and 3 times a week, to turn around and being on every, you name it, right? Like
those interviews aren't even, I'm not saying it's not genuine, but they're kind of trying to pick at specific points, trying to get some, you know what I mean? Like, that can't be easy, man.
It's like a battle itself, right? Like when you get on and you got an interviewer, like, you talk 60 minutes, it was like 6.5 to 7 hours of interviewing of, hey, so you killed a guy with a rock. Like, can you tell me how you did it? Like, so what did your guys look like when you found them? Right. Like just such, and I understand they have their point on it, but then they question you and then they turn it on you. And then you got other people saying, well, I don't remember that. Well, it's like, dude, we like, if we did all have the same story, you should probably question it. Right. Cause we probably came up with it and we're probably lying about it. But like, we were all in different places, seeing it from different ways, and different things hit us. And it was a shit show, man. It was just like a shit show of, you know, it was nuts. Like, so, and, you know, and then you got to learn how to speak. I mean, I've never gave speeches in my life. The most I'd ever done is given briefs, you know, to a battalion commander before I wanted to go out on a mission. Right. Like, and next thing you know, I've got to be able to speak, and I've got to watch what I'm saying. And, you know, then you've got this whole thing of Marines who want to fight you. Right. Like, because they want to be able to say that they fought a Medal of Honor.
That. Honestly, no, never guessed that, man.
Listen, I've been punched. I've had the metal ripped off my neck. I've been spit on. I've had milkshakes thrown at me. Absolutely.
That's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, it's just look, the only people who want to bring veterans down the most are fucking other veterans. Right.
I saw that veteran with a sign page. I thought, like, man, this is exactly what happens, you know?
Yeah.
Literally talked about that the last episode. You just literally had that same conversation. Yeah.
And it's like all these guys are like, well, you didn't do what you said you did, you know, and then where the Marine Corps messed up is they started putting numbers in there of like, oh, you know, he saved 36 people. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't, and like, that's where I would get, you know, it would get into, we saved 36 people. Like, and people were like, you saved 36. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't there with the fucking clicker. I can tell you how many I lost. I can tell you how many I didn't save. Let's talk about that number. I know that number 100%. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then people want to nitpick it, and the media wants to use it as a story because they're such bottom feeders. You know what I mean? And it was just a shit show, man. You know, just a shit show.
Yeah. So you received the medal. What was that? September 2011.
September 15th, 2011.
From there, you're going on a huge media tour, PR tour. You're basically going, how long does that last? And then after that, when do you start sort of transitioning back into a quasi-normal life?
You know, the media tour hardcore was 3-4 months. You know, of a hit, and of getting up at 6 a.m. doing an early hit, and then turning around and being at speeches and appearances, and being in New York and LA, and you know, that was hardcore for about 3 or 4 months. And then it kind of transitioned. The Marine Corps left me. They took their team out because I had a whole team that lived with me.
Oh, wow.
And they took them back. That was the end of that piece. And then I went on to, you know, my own thing. And, you know, I mean, it's still, I mean, you know, you can get as much of it as you want, right? Like me, I've kind of backed off because I just don't, I don't find the fulfillment in it. If I don't have a message that's positive in which I can get out, like now I don't need the media. I got a podcast. I can go on other people's podcasts. I can use my own platforms. I don't need the media anymore to get my message out, to feel like I'm helping people. So, you know, that's kind of been the cool part of transitioning out of it. But, you know, I mean, I turn down shit all the time. I don't have the desire. Like I refuse. And they look, here's the other thing is like, they don't use me because I'm not going to be their puppet, right? Like I don't wear the medal. I'm not like the other guys. Like you ain't gonna catch me with my fucking medal. And my daughter has my medal. It's in her toy box or the diaper bag, one or two, wherever she left it at, where it's at. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get me to show up to your event and wear my medal to make you look good. It ain't fucking happening.
Yeah. So I mean, where do you even go from there? I mean, so you get the medal, you're doing your PR tour. It's 3-4 months. You're starting transitioning back in. Yeah. At what point do you start looking to either A, get a job, or B, start to transition into bringing in an income for yourself through a business?
I started businesses, right? I had a construction company for a while.
Is that still going?
So I got rid of it.
Okay.
A construction company. I mean, you know, like I've been an entrepreneur. I love the mindset. I love the challenge. I love employing people. So, you know, like that's what I've done, right? I've done that, and you know, started more businesses than I can, or gotten into more businesses than I could shake a stick at. Everything from technologies to construction to you name it, right? And you know, I mean, and that's what I've continued to do. I mean, I've continued to find a way to work for myself and to try to keep that mindset of how can I continue the same purpose I had while I was in the Marine Corps of making the world a little bit better.
You talk about a little bit about the construction company. Like, what first drew you to it, and like, what were your first steps? It's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do this for myself. How did you get there?
Yeah, I mean, like I liked the challenge of it, right? I liked the work of it. It was a distraction. Like I liked it's kind of like the Marine Corps, right? I mean, you're working with your hands, you're getting to build shit, you get to see your results, you get to, I mean, you get to, you get to do cool stuff, right? And that was the part of it, and being able to have employees and being able to build teams and being able to build a culture where people can be successful and all that. Like that was what did it. And I mean, look, I started a construction company and I found guys that could haul ass and who knew more than me. And I surrounded myself with guys who knew more than me and who were better than me. And that's the only trick that I've got that I've got up my sleeve is I'm not good at anything, but I can find dudes who are. Like I can find people who are fucking really good at it, and I have the ability to find a way to make them believe in my crazy ass idea and then keep them going.
Pretty sure that's the definition of an entrepreneur, so that's good.
Right? I mean, and it's the same thing that America did for us as far as like going over and fighting wars.
Yeah,
Basically.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So from construction, how do you transition? How do you say, you know what? Was it that you were tired of it, or you wanted to move on to something else? What was that thought process, and then how did you move into your next venture?
Yeah, I mean, I got bored with it, right? And that's my other problem is I get bored with shit really fast, and I got bored. It wasn't it wasn't for me, right? Like I just, he just, I couldn't, honestly, there was a lot of competition I had and I couldn't drop to the level that it was going to take to fucking compete with them. And I wasn't going to compromise my morals and what I thought was right to be able to fucking compete with that shit. So it just wasn't me. I wasn't that type of guy. Probably like a used car salesman. Like I probably couldn't do that either. So, I got out of it and I've had t-shirt companies. I've still got Own the Dash. It's an apparel company that does good. I got a Flipside Canvas, which is a canvas company. I do consulting for companies that, need leadership, or I've done integrative technology stuff. So like I've dabbled in everything. Wherever I can be an asset or I feel like I can add something to the table, then that's where I've stuck to. Like, I think if anything, I've figured out what I'm not good at all, like what I'm really not good at and what my weaknesses are. And I stay away from those. Like that's the key to being successful is knowing if you can identify what you suck at and what you really, really suck at, then you can be successful because you know where your weaknesses are and you can find somebody to cover those patches and weaknesses of what you don't have, right?
So when it comes to business, I mean, I obviously can presume where you're going with this, but would you rather try to improve your weaknesses, or you believe more so to sort of fill in the gap?
Fill the gap.
Fill the gap. More efficient?
Yeah. I mean, like you don't have to be great at anything. Like you can like I live with the mindset that I'd rather be good at 100 things than to be fucking awesome at one thing. Especially in today's world. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur, you've got to be fucking good at everything in that business. And the chances of you being the best or the greatest in that business is not happening, right? Like you take like look at a football team. A football team is kind of like I think football is like the game of life. A football team is kind of like your business. Do you think can you as a coach be the best quarterback? Like even a quarterback all the way down to the level, right? Can that quarterback be the best center, be the best tackle, be the best guard, the tight end? No. Best receiver? No. But I bet you can take that quarterback and you could put him in those positions and he would know how to function and how they work at a basic level, right? And that's how they can know how to run plays. He can read the defense, right? Like he can know how to take that information and that he's seeing and how he knows how it works and see what's not working and able to fix that. And that's what I try to do. I don't want to be I have no desire to be able to go stretch canvas better than the people who stretch my canvas. I have no desire to learn how to be a graphic designer who designs my art. I have no desire to be an accountant who does my books, right? But I educate myself on all that enough to know enough about it to be able to speak it and to be able to utilize that tool of how to move that chess piece better.
Well said. Let's go into consulting. What do you see is like the biggest advice when you're given to a business? Do you think that would be, or what is it that you can tell that you really see a common thing with entrepreneurs that are starting to consult with? Hey, this is what you need to fix.
Yeah, I mean, part of the struggle is exactly what you're talking about, right? Is knowing what you're not good at. The hardest part of where you see companies start struggling is when you don't it's one thing for you to is understanding your value of your time and understanding how to grow and scale. Most companies start out like I did with my canvas company. I started out stretching the shit by hand myself. Am I good at fucking stretching? No, I'm not. I'm not good at all. Like literally, I mean, can I do it? Yeah, I mean, I could do it. But if I'm not, there's people who do it better. But like, how do you being able to scale that and understanding? Like for me, my biggest struggle of everything is getting too down in the weeds. Right? Like if I hire somebody to do something and they can't do it and I have to be there overwatching them and walking them through everything, then I'm actually losing money, because if I'm paying that position, let's just use easy numbers. Let's say I'm paying for a graphic designer, I'm paying $50 an hour. And let's say that I come in there and I'm helping him every hour that he has to be doing it, then take my time and add on to it. So you're actually in the black of what, you know what I mean? Of what you're losing money. And it's like how to stay out of the weeds and let people do their own and hold them accountable and push them. And that's probably been my biggest struggle and I'm getting better at it, but of understanding that there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. And that's what I see a lot in these businesses is not willing to let people go, not standing back and staying in your lane.
Well, because I think people have trouble valuing, they're putting a dollar amount of value on themselves, right? Like it's not all about dollars, but in your example, I mean, it's a perfect example. If you're the CEO, if you're the executive of the company and you're investing 4.5 hours a day, supervising at a microscopic level.
Yeah.
I mean, that $50 just skyrocketed to $75, $80 spread out over 4 hours.
When where I would catch myself, you take my canvas company when I was doing this transition piece of growing. I started out and I was just literally in the warehouse and there was nothing to it. Like I could keep up with it. I was literally in the office every single day. And I was like, well, that's where I gotta be. Like I gotta be back here with the guys. Right. Like, and that's fine. Like that's fine, but that's an office manager or a warehouse manager level. It's not the CEO level. And what I would catch myself doing is I would go out on the road and I'd be focused on the top end of the business of the branding, marketing, sales, which the 30,000 foot view. So then I'd get a bunch of orders in. Next thing you know, I'd have to be back in the warehouse getting the orders out. And then while I was in there getting the orders out for the next 2 weeks, my sales would drop because nobody's focusing on the other. And you can't do both, right? Like you can't. It is an impossibility to be able to knock out both.
So then at what point do you bring somebody in?
That's the point, right?
Yeah,
like that's the point of that piece of it. Like obviously you have to look as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to look, there's going to be days that you're going to have to go back there and sweep the fucking floors and clean the toilets. Like you're never above that. And I always say that, like, yeah, I'm never too good to if it closes, if something happens tomorrow for me to step in any position to be able to fulfill that for a moment in time. But it's not that's not the business plan. You know what I mean? So when do you transition that over? When the company can sustain it, right? Like, but either way, like when you see people saying, well, my company's profiting this year, okay. But you're the one you're doing it out of your garage and you're not billing for the time that it would take in the facility that you need. And you're the one doing all these roles and positions, but you're only paying yourself in a small role. You're not profiting yet. You're not.
That's a good point.
Even
You know
that
what I
first
mean?
hire, you might have to, like, instead of paying yourself, you might want to still go free and use that money to pay somebody in an area that you said that you suck at.
Yeah, but you're still not in the profit, right? And that's where, like, I struggled with that for a long time.
I'm struggling with that now. Yeah, without
Yeah,
a
but even all the time you put into that company, and I understand that, look, obviously you don't have to take that, but you have to be billing your hours to that company if you want to get a good look at, is your company truly profitable, right? Like, whatever hours you're putting into it, bill it at the rate that it would take if you had to pay somebody else. And you don't have to pay yourself that, but it needs to be account receivable so that you understand at what point that company has, because there's a it's not just the monetization or the monetization piece that you've put into that, but it's also the piece that of your time and equity and sweat equity that you've put into that company. That's also a huge value as well, right?
Yeah, well, I think people get lost in sort of the idea of what's going on, and maybe if they're having an upswing, it's all roses and rose gardens, and you're right though. Taking that step back and taking the hard look and actually looking, and again, going back to what I said earlier, is putting a dollar amount on your time and your
You have
effort.
to. You have to. You have to, because it's not fair to the business if you don't.
Yeah, and I even for my own business. I mean, this is my third business now. First two were basically washed.
Yeah.
Right. And even now, I'm still going through. Like, I forgot that lesson. Like, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm doing pretty decently. And then all of a sudden, like, obviously we're in a pretty challenging time, but you start to go downward again. And they're like, oh well, I thought I was here, but I wasn't really giving myself a real representation where I was at. I was sort of living in like this fantasy world where, like, oh, it's just all uphill from here.
Yeah.
I can go and do this, this, and this. And then you overextend yourself, and next thing you know, you're looking back like, where the fuck did all the money go? Where did all the effort go?
Yeah. And I tell you, the other thing I see is I usually, like, I have to watch myself on wasting a lot of time on shit that I think matters in my head, but really doesn't matter. Right. Like getting that logo there. Like honestly, you can change your logo down the road. Nobody gives a shit about your logo. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I got to do this or I got to do that. Right. You think about all this. I got to have it. It's insane. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. So I was so hell bent on, and I don't know why it still makes me sick to think about it, but I was so hell bent on caring about what my stretcher bars were made out of under my canvas. And I was like, they had to be 2.5 inches thick. And I don't know why I was so hell bent on that, like so hell bent. And we found, like, I wouldn't even switch it to 2.25. Like, I would just freak out. Like, no, there's no fucking chance we're switching from 2.25. I don't care if it is a 30% difference cheaper. I'm like, the customers will know. They'll start bitching and it'll be on. I switched it like a year ago, and nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean?
It's the ego.
It's the ego. It's the ego. And it's just like one of these deals of, like, it's insane. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the hard part of understanding of what's the value of trying to figure out what is the value of your product to that customer, and what is your thoughts, right? Like, they're two different things.
So, I mean, just because ego is a big one, especially in business, life, professional development, everything. How is it that you keep your ego in check? What's been the process for you? I mean, look, you're coming from a guy who is a Medal of Honor recipient, who is obviously really humble about it and really didn't want it, but there's got to be an inflation of the ego at some point.
So your ego is, it's like, so it's the thing that makes you successful. Your ego will decide how successful you are, but it'll also be the same thing that kills you. Right? Like it's your ego is important. It's a necessary piece to being successful. You cannot be successful without an ego. You can't do it. But the more you can figure out how to control your ego and manipulate your ego to use it to your benefit, like pull it out when you need it versus when you don't need it, being able to identify those pieces of it is absolutely the absolute piece that will decide your winning and successful, winning and succeeding and winning, or succeeding or failure will be. So for me, like, I don't have an ego, because, like, I'm only competing against one person. That's my fucking self. I get up in the mornings and I start my day off with like recognizing how success, like how
Like a morning
fortunate I am.
affirmation. Like a morning affirmation. You waking up,
like,
you're feeling good.
Like I wake up in the mornings and I always make sure I acknowledge how great that my life is. You know what I mean? I start with that, like appreciation, you know, like a little appreciation piece. And then I go on and I don't get wrapped up around the axles anymore. You know what I mean? You can't really, there's nothing you can throw at me I can't figure out. There's nothing you're going to do to me that's going to change my life. You know what I mean? And so with those pieces, I still struggle with my ego, right? Like I still struggle with sometimes like she'll get me hell bent on something that's so stupid. But it's about proving a point. And it usually happens after I've taken it for a long time, right? Like after I've just whatever. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Now motherfucker, I'm going to prove a point. Right. And those are usually the most costliest times. I should have said, yeah, whatever again. But, you know, it's just like little stuff like that. But, you know, I think that always remembering where you're at and, you know, just like think right now. Think right now. Go back. When did y'all get out of the Marines?
2016.
Okay. So think about that. So think about, how old are you?
33.
33. How old are you? 33? So I'm 32. So think about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So think about the top 2 problems you've got in your life today. Just keep them to yourself, right? Think about them. And are they not problems that 10 years ago you would have dreamed of having?
Yeah, that's actually, yeah.
Think about that, right? So you're actually still living your dream even with your problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, new problems every day with the next level of dreaming. Yeah.
And it's all perspective. It's all perspective. It's everything in life with how your mindset is. It comes down to 2 pieces. It's perspective and priorities, right? Like perspective. Like what is your priorities, and what's your perspective on this? And if those 2 are out of line, you're gonna be fucked. You're going to be fighting for the wrong reasons. You're going to be wasting energy. But if your perspective and your priorities are both lined up and they're both really dialed in to what's right, then the rest of it falls into place.
Yeah, well, I think especially when people get out, because I mean, I work on a military base now, and I work on an Army base, and I talk to a lot of soldiers about transitioning, and probably more so than they want to. But I'm here in DC, and I'm at Fort Myer. And these guys are infantry guys. They're 11 Bravos, and they basically joined the Army to go get some, and there they are in the old guard, you know, doing caskets and funeral details, and that's what they're doing for 4 years. And a lot of these guys are, you know, they're honored to do what they do, but they're also disgruntled because like they know their buddy that they went to boot camp with is out there, you know, going to Syria or is going to Iraq, and obviously things have died down quite a bit, but that's something that I'm always talking about is keep perspective. It's like, listen, like this is like a drop in the ocean of time, right? Like you can re-enlist, you can go do this, but even when you go to get out, it's the same thing. You have like this perspective that is fostered in the military before you get out, like we were talking about earlier about sort of having that shitty attitude and being a piece of shit about it. And then eventually you get out and you have to align these 2. You have to align your priorities and your perspective for you to be successful, for you to move forward and transition in the civilian life.
Yeah. So where I think we messed up with the military, and this is, I haven't talked, like I've been going back and forth with people about even mentioning this.
Let it rip.
Yeah. I'm going to let it rip.
Full send.
It's gonna be a full send. And if you're sensitive, and if this bothers you, you're one of the people that I'm about to talk about.
Put a disclaimer.
Yeah, just disclaimer. Like if this bothers you, you should go look in the mirror and know that you're the person I'm talking about. So where we messed up in the military is we brought these people, they brought us all in, right? And just because we raised our right hand to serve our country, we're heroes. Everyone should thank us for our service equally. Look, I got a Medal of Honor and 2 combat action ribbons, a Purple Heart. I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero in any way, shape, or form. I got paid for everything that I did. I never worked a day for free. I got paid. I got taken care of. I got health care. I mean, I got better benefits than anybody else that was 17 to 21 in their first job ever got. I got way better benefits after that. I still get benefits from it. I got protection. I got one of the best jobs, paying jobs with, with a career advancement. Anything I wanted, I got it better than anybody else with a high school diploma got that was that got out of high school and could have done anything they wanted. Right. So security, I had great job security, everything. So then we tell these guys, hey, you're fucking heroes. You're all so fucking heroes, right? Blah, 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 blah. And then they get out and they want to be treated like fucking heroes. And that's where the disgruntledness comes in. It's like, no, like you're no better than anybody else because you filed paperwork, you did an admin job in the military. You're no better than anyone else because you went in the military and you deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Look, they are the greatest of the generation, but on the backside of it, you don't get out, and that's not, you haven't earned your spot at the table for the rest of your life just because you did that. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
And like people don't like that. They don't like to hear that. And so like you see these guys get out and they wear this disgruntled veteran. They all get out and grow this fucking beard and they drive around wearing their grunt style t-shirts and they get out and they act like assholes to everybody, right? And they want to talk about how badass they are and they're fucking 80 pounds out of shape. They couldn't fucking run 2 miles and they drink their ass off. And it's like, I'll never forget. I was like that. And Tim Kennedy?
Yeah.
So I was working out with Tim Kennedy one day, and I was just bitching, man. I was the guy who I just mentioned, right? And Tim looks at me and he goes, "Hey, check it out. You're looked at as a warrior. You're looked at as a fucking warrior. You walk around and you talk like a fucking warrior. You tell stories of a warrior. You need to fucking look and act like a fucking warrior. You understand?" And I was like, oh, you talk about hard hit. You know what I mean?
Nice,
it's
right there. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. That's what you need. But too many of these guys, it's like, it's just one of these deals. It's like, hey, like I got out and I'm still trying to make my community better. I serve every day. That's what I don't think you choose the job of serving. Serving chooses you. And I think that we all, especially as veterans, we have more of an obligation to continue to serve this country because we've seen, supposedly, we got PTSD and all this other shit. We've seen the sacrifices that this country that's been made for us to be free. So we should be the ones leading the charge instead of sitting back saying, oh, pay me, feel sorry for me. I'm all fucked up, PTSD, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The VA didn't do this for me, or I didn't get this benefit. And this person got such and such, or this rating. That's I hear a lot. Like, oh, how'd you get that rating? Blah, blah, blah. And I deserve this and I deserve that. And it's like, dude,
right? I deserve this. I deserve that. Yeah, you got paid every day you're fucking serving. You don't deserve shit.
Exactly. Like I had a gunny that I work with, Gunny Flynn. He used to always say, "Serve your country like a fucking man." And that's it. Yeah. That's it. Just serve it like a fucking man or a woman.
And and I hear you saying, like, talking about. I get that all the time. The comments of. I don't feel like I joined to fight. So did I. And you be careful what you fucking wish for, right? Like I tell these guys all the time, like, we know we shot more rounds in training than we ever did in combat. We kicked in more doors in training than we ever did in combat. Just be real careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? Because there's a price. And I hear all these guys talk all this shit about, I just want to go back and deploy. That I got PTSD. I just want to go back and deploy. And it's like, really? Do you? You want to go back and deploy? You want to go back and the same thing that makes you drink every night that's so fucking bad and makes you have nightmares and makes your fucking life miserable. You want to go back and do it again? Do you really?
I think sometimes when it comes to that, it's when I think about that, like, if I've ever had those thoughts, it's because there's a simplicity out there. You know, like your only problem is don't die, don't let your friends die. Like that's it. When you come back, you know, life is much more complicated, you know, or it can become, and so
It does.
it's weird.
Like,
It's an escape, you know.
It is. It's an escape, but it's like, man, I can remember sometimes laying behind a fucking rock, getting my ass lit off, just begging God that I'm going to get to go home again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I can remember coming back some days and being like, man, I don't want to walk down that fucking road again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to watch another one of my buddies die. You know what I mean? Like, I think we forget about the bad times, or all the times you sat there on fucking posts, or all the sandbags you filled for stupid reasons, right? Like, I think we romanticize this idea of what it was that it really wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there was a couple good times where we got to do some cool shit. But at the end of the day, do you really want to go back and fucking wear body armor in a fucking shithole place that smells like shit? You're hot all the time. You're taking showers in nothing. Do you really want to switch your life for that? Nah,
Like there's not enough talk about that, you know. And the Marine Corps like culture is the opposite of that. Like, oh yeah, you gotta go. And so I think something like that can help out a lot of people who get stuck in that mentality and then exit the Marine Corps with that mentality, or any military.
And it's like, I hear these guys go, man, I just want to kick in doors and shoot guys in the face. And I'm like, how many times do you do that? How many times you kick in a door and shoot a guy in the face? I've seen your rifle qual range. I mean, I don't know if you could even fucking hit a guy in the face if you kicked him. So like, how many times did you really do that? Are you been watching, are you talking about on Call of Duty? Or are you talking about like, I didn't kick into a door to shoot nobody in the face. Like, I mean, you know, obviously the spec ops guys are fucking doing crazy shit, right? But us as 99% of Marines, you ain't doing that since Fallujah.
Yeah, especially in Afghanistan. It's not a thing. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's romanticized. I think it's part of the culture. You know, it's the Call of Duty, it's the violence you see on TV, it's all this stuff, and people glorify it.
Yeah.
Until you stand in front of a battlefield cross in the middle of a fob, and people are sobbing. Grown men are sobbing because they lost a brother. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I just like, for me, I hope I go the rest of my life and nobody ever tries to kill me again. Like, I hope I go the rest of my life and I never have to take a life again. Like, I hope I go the rest of my life and I never have to see that level of evil ever again. Like, I hope I don't ever have to point a gun at somebody in vain ever again. Like, there's nothing fun about any of that. Like, there's nothing fun about killing another human being. Like, you like, and I don't consider that you've ever really understood what it feels like to kill a human being unless you've killed him and you've been able to see the whites in his fucking eyes. Unless you've been able to feel the emotion on that man as you're about to fucking take his life. Then you can talk about what it's like to kill somebody. Until then, like, if you drop some rounds, you drop some, some mortar rounds on somebody or some shit like that. Like, let's don't get it all script up here. You know what I mean? Let's don't get it all wound up.
Yeah, man. I do want to talk another thing. I think something I went through, at least. I don't know if you can relate to this. Is a part of that culture and part of that hero culture is that when you get out, like, first off, what time you did, like, hey, we defend the country we're the elite. You're making a real difference, and then you get out, and that difference is gone. And so I really found myself over the last couple of years trying to find a way to fill that hole. And
yeah. What do you do now?
I'm a real estate agent, realtor over here in San Diego. Also a daytime college advisor, and it's all with the veterans. So, I get
So let me ask you this. You ready?
Go ahead.
How like you sell people homes. Like, you take them through one of the most stressful times of their life.
Right.
You give them a new place that they call home. You don't think that makes a difference in their life?
Oh, it does. This is why I chose it. It just took a lot of getting. It's 6 years later, trying to hop around, trying to figure. But right now, like I said, like I just closed the house like 2-3 days ago, and it's just like, man, we would have never done it without you. And that's so cool coming from, like, those guys at DI out here training people in the busiest time of their life. And I'm able to take that distraction away and give him and their family a place that they can call home forever and pass.
Yeah, right. And so, like, how much of a difference do you think anybody gave a shit about us when we were overseas? You see what I'm saying? Like, and this is my frustration with look, and I told you, it took me a long time to have like a lot of, I call it soul searching to get to what you're talking about. But it's like, so like literally our purpose when we served, right? Whether you're going to combat or you're not, which a lot aren't right now, right? But like we literally, whatever we touched, whether it was on base, whether it's in a hurricane relief situation, whether it's in a, whether you're passing out aid at a place in Afghanistan or Iraq, or whether you're killing an enemy combatant, it literally came down to one thing. We have one purpose when we're serving, and that's to make the world that we're touching just a little bit fucking better. Like that's literally all it is. It's break everything down, every aspect of what we do. That's what it is, whether it's holding a door for or treating someone great on base or holding the door for them or just us walking in our presence in uniform makes people feel more secure, right? Of all these things of going in and passing out soccer balls. You don't think we can't do that here in America and do it with a bigger purpose and actually make real change?
Yeah, with our own citizens.
With their own citizens who are going to appreciate it. Like who are going to appreciate it, right? Like you, and it doesn't even take much. It doesn't even take that much. And it's like, and it's a real difference. Look, we didn't change Iraq or Afghanistan. Like we didn't change them one fucking bit. So it's like, we as veterans have this thing of where we could still do it and continue our service even after being out,
Yeah, all it takes is, again, the change of perspective. It doesn't have to be combat related.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It absolutely doesn't. Look at what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean,
volunteer fire department.
And I'm making more of a difference now than I ever did. Like, right, every house you went into, every door you kicked in, every enemy combatant you killed, like there's 5 other ones ready just trying to kill him too to replace him, right? Like it doesn't, like we didn't make a difference over there, but we can truly make a difference here. And by helping other people, by lifting other people up, right? Like when I hear people say, well, I had purpose over there. No, you didn't. You were lied to. You didn't have no fucking purpose. Like, what was your purpose over there? What was it? What was your purpose over there?
You're gonna trigger some people with that one. That would be great.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying you were lied to about, like, I don't get into all the why we were there or shit. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, do you think you really fucking made a difference over there? Do you think anybody remembers who you are over there?
Exactly.
No. Were you protecting America? No, you fucking weren't. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think we thought we were, but like, how's Iraq doing right now? How's Afghanistan? Right?
Yeah.
So it's like your purpose here in a place where people are going to appreciate it. People are going to remember your name. People are going to remember how you made them feel. Yeah. Like in your own community, you can make a huge difference every single day.
And you could be around to watch it flourish. You could watch it appreciate and grow.
Yeah.
I mean, you go over there, you do your thing. Yeah, maybe you hand out a soccer ball or two, and then it's gone. That's it. You know what I mean? Realistically, those kids didn't really give a shit. They just wanted a fucking soccer ball.
Oh, no. I mean, and it's not that they were bad kids. It's just the fact, you're not going to be there long enough to make a difference. And just as much of a difference you could have made, the next guy could have came through and fucked it up by doing something dumb. You know what I mean? Like, it's not our country either way. And we have a chance here where people appreciate you. You know what I mean? And people look up to veterans here in America. Yeah. And we have the chance to make a difference. And it's just there's so many ways that you can help and make the world a better place. You don't do it by, I don't feel like we helped America in any, I don't know about you. You tell me this. You guys tell me this. Do you ever walk through places and look at somebody and say, would they be as safe or would they be? Are they safer because of my sacrifices?
No, I think I used to fall into that category where I did think that, especially when I was in. And then the further I get out from it and the more I understand the political landscape and sort of the strategic implications of all that stuff, no, I don't feel that way. I really don't. And it's actually kind of sad because it's like, man, I feel duped to a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've probably been that guy at some point where I've actually probably espoused that to somebody and said that to somebody
100%.
as an arrogant prick. And then now I'm looking back on it and I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, you
about
only
that
have
anymore.
freedom because of me, but do they really? Do they really? You know what I mean? Like you can go back to World War II. Yeah. Yeah, of course. That changed the whole landscape of the world, right? Iraq and Afghanistan, I don't know that the world was changed. You know what I mean? Like I don't know that I think that their world had a potential for us to be able to make it better if the politicians would have let us do our job. I think we could have definitely made their world a little bit better, which is a great attribute to us, right? But I don't think that the way that it was fought and the way that they held our hands, that anything was real change was made. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, even the city of Marja where I was at, I mean, it's.
Yeah. How many guys y'all lose there, right? How many guys died for Marja, and who's running it now?
Taliban.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like my base, like the village that I lost my teammates in, it's Taliban controlled. Nobody's fucking fighting for it anymore. What good was that?
Yeah, especially where I was at. I mean, Marja was supposed to be like sort of like the ideal place, right? The coin operations. We came in there, we invaded, we took over, we set infrastructure, we appointed all these village elders, all these different contracts to pave roads, to do this, do that. We filled their pockets. Then slowly after time, because I went there twice, second deployment, come back. I'm the battalion commander's radio operator, so I'm sort of getting that bird's eye view. And we cut off the money, and what happens? I mean, you basically created warlords. Like,
Yeah.
you gave people tons of money, you empowered these people who were already shady to begin with, and then we pull out. And as we're pulling out, they're not getting any money. They're going to turn to their old ways, and that's basically what happened.
If other countries have to protect and pay somebody to want their place to be better, it ain't never going to be fucking better. You know what I mean? And look now let me clear this up because I'm sure I'm pissing a lot of people off right now. We did our jobs. We did our jobs. When we were there, the fucking place was safe. Let's get this straight, right? We could have walked in anywhere and kicked anybody's ass. We could have fixed anything. 110%. There's not a country on the face of the planet that wants to fuck with the United States of America. Let's go ahead and sum that up. But when the politicians, the people who are deciding the political, when it's fought because of politics and not because of principle, that's what you get.
Yeah. And
in a way,
I'm holding back a little bit, but I mean, it's what it was. It's a lack of long-term vision, and we all of our brothers and sisters suffered for it, and that's upsetting to me. That really pisses me off, to be honest with you. I mean, I think about the guys we lost all the time.
Yeah, I fought with John McCain over this multiple times. You know what I mean? Argued with him over it. That it was fucking bullshit.
Yeah, well.
But, look, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. And by no means am I trying to take away from the sacrifices that were made because, look, I definitely know what the cost of freedom is. But I'm just saying, like, hey, like, let's get real here, right? Like, let's call the baby ugly and let's move on. Let's move on and make it the best. But I'm just saying, like, when you look at everything in relation of this idea, the further we get away, the more we romanticized of what it was that it really wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, you can do it and actually make a real difference here. You can make a real difference in a place that wants it, in a community that you're going to be able to see it thrive from, and from people who deserve it. And that's our community. That's our citizens.
I think there's a confusion, I think, while you're in, when you're told you're serving your country, but during the time I was in, I was serving another country, technically. You know what I mean? And that message can get messed up in the head, and then when you get back, you get stuck to where you serve your country. But no, you was fucking over there,
It is. And like, I think that we have like a lot of opportunity to do a lot of cool shit here in America and truly make a difference for people that matter.
And that's what this podcast is for. So, like, we might talk about these struggles that we've gone through, but it's really so for that person that's about to get out, or that person that just recently got out. Hopefully, when they watch this, it kind of opens your eyes up a little bit quicker than it was for me personally or for you personally. We're trying to speed the transition rate. So, at some point, first off, you can transition and get a great job, or you can start your own company and make that difference.
Yeah, and and look, and it's about going back to your priorities. It's about what matters to you. You know what I mean? And that's, you can mask them by branding and all this other stuff, but eventually it's going to come out. Eventually it's going to come down to your priorities of what they are. And they have to be well defined and to know them, because look, I always say your why has to be stronger than your what, and you're going to have a ton of whats that are going to always question your why, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's relationships, whether it's whatever. You're going to have that, and I think that's where like I had to disseminate or decipher, whatever you want to call it, through all these thoughts like I just shared with you, and then I had to come to terms with them before I could literally move on and come up with what life really is. You know what I mean? Like, I think I had to come to terms with what, like, it's kind of like knowing I need to lose weight, but I have to admit that I'm overweight by looking in the mirror and that I don't like what I see before I could take it serious that I need to lose weight. And, that's a cool opportunity. And we as veterans, I think we have a perspective that most people can't ever get. You can't pay for it. A lot of us got to go do and see the world and meet people that most people will never get to meet, get experiences. And imagine like we're all a blade. Like, imagine we're all a blade. And every person, every person you come in contact to with your entire life, they all either sharpen you or dull you. Every person does.
That's deep. And it's all about that.
But here's the deal. And you think it might be based off of them, and it's not. It's based off the angle that you use them. It's based off the angle that they hit your blade, right? So like, if you let them come in and hit the cutting edge of that, then yeah, they're gonna dull it. But if you figure out what the angle of them is, it's going to make you sharper, and you figure out how to position yourself with them that way, then they're going to sharpen you, right? And when you start looking at people that way, you can learn something and get better from every single person you come in contact to in your entire life. And it's your choice of if you're going to do that.
Wow. Gotta take that one in for a second. I like that. I never heard it put that way before.
Yeah, like Mark Luttrell always says, everybody has a key to you, and they all unlock something new in you. And it's how do you figure out how to find that key to the right piece that unlocks something of you?
Well, I think it's an attitude shift where it's like, especially in the military, especially, it's like everything is everybody else's fault, right? Like when you get out, right? Everything is everybody else's fault, but it's you're not actually seeing those people as an opportunity, or seeing the whatever it is, the school or the job or whatever it is. People aren't looking at that and saying, hey, like, how can I better myself? And it actually took me a while too. I mean, like, I got out, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I went to massage school when I went from the Marine Corps, like, to massage school. And like, that was like, I can't even describe how interesting of a time that was.
I can imagine.
But it made me think differently. You know what I'm saying? It actually set the stone and helped me kind of get the gears grinding. I'm like, oh, okay, like I actually have to kind of look at things differently, especially now that I'm out. Like, I really have to adopt and look at myself and see where I'm flawed and how I can sort of move forward to adapt to what I'm trying to do and really be successful.
So think about this. All right. So when you go in the military, the military is easy. The military is easy because every aspect of what you like, you have a clear expectation. I mean, you can go, even if it's a PT test of how to do a push-up, there is a actual written out way that a push-up will be performed to be correct. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like all the way down to like in the military, tie your shoes. I'm going to go a little bit further for you to think about this. a military environment is such a bubble that we all live in. We create our own ecosystem. They put fences around our military base to keep us in so we can, like, literally, if we want to just hang around military people, we never even have to leave the base to go deal with civilians. Think about that, right? It's so controlled, and it's an easy way. When you get out here, you have to individually think. You have to deal with things a different way, right? Like, you might mature, you mature a lot of different ways in the military, but it's a whole nother ball game. Like leadership in the military, like, look, I got rank, you can't get fired. Like, you have to do what I say, or I can control your entire life and make you miserable. Like, all the way down to, what is it, 30-30, all that shit, right? Like imagine, so that's one style of leadership. When you get out in the civilian world, and as an entrepreneur in the civilian world, people can fucking quit and go work somewhere else all day long. So you have to find a different way to empower them to be better. It's a more of a challenge to leadership in life. And in the military, the military is a easier, it's not easier. Let's don't say easier, simpler. It's a simpler way of life. Yeah. You won't find another place that is clearly objective in how to be successful. You even get told what you're not doing right through your evals. You know what I mean? Like, and you're not getting fired. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the hard part. And it took me a long time. It took me a long time to transition out and get past that. Like you said, blaming everyone else for my problems. I was the worst. I was the worst about it. Like, I would blame you for everything. And then if you wanted to question me or call me out on it, then I would just revert back to, well, you never served. You never served. You never raised your right hand. That was my trump card. You know what I mean? Like, that was my, well, how many times you been shot at? How many guys did you lose?
Yeah, you hear that one a lot.
How many guys you lose, right? Like, and it was like this is like just, and really, like, the only thing there was only one common denominator to all the fucked up situations, and that was myself. And I had to look in the mirror and start seeing that, hey, maybe everyone else in the world isn't fucked up. Maybe it's just me.
Can I ask about what that moment was, at least what started that one moment?
Yeah, I've had a few of them, but probably the worst was just, I got to the point to where I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm fucking done. And, finally I just got to the point to where I said, look, I can either need to kill myself and quit blaming everybody else and quit ruining everybody else's day, or I need to fix it. And, I'm going to fix it, right? Like, I'm going to get better. And, like, the world, just because Dakota looks at the world this way doesn't mean that that's the way the world is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because the one little small segment of life that I've seen through the two eyes that I see through, that doesn't mean that's the way the whole world is. You know what I mean? And I think once you put that in perspective, there's no other way. Like, how, and it took all these hard things that I've gone through to break me down, to get rid of that ego. It's took every challenge that's been thrown in front of me to give me that piece to be able to connect with people, right? Like, I used to connect with people by what they were achieved on, and what, like, well, what'd you do? Oh, you're a Marine? Like, well, we automatically connect. What, do we really though? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you do. I'm not gonna. At least the first level. What else is that?
Yeah. Okay, so we both love the Eagle Globe and Anchor, right? Like, I got you, right? Like, yeah, of course, there's a connection there to a piece of it, right? But it's like, I can connect with anybody.
That's a trick to learn right there. Yeah, because I think, when I got out, I to this day, like, unfortunately, I don't have too many civilian friends. But that's something I need to work on. That's not on them. That's on me. And so I need to be able to do that.
And so, but here, I'm gonna throw back on you to challenge you a little bit. I would say it's because, how often do you make yourself vulnerable to other people?
Probably not.
Never. So, right. So here's what I think your ultimate superpower in life is when you can get to a point to where you can lay all your cards out on the fucking table, lay them out there. Like, cause like the only way you really connect with people is see, like being a veteran and being a Marine, that's an easy way to connect with people. It's fucking easy, right? It's easy. But when you can lay your cards out on the table and your experiences out on the table and your pain and your weaknesses out on the table to people, that's how you really connect with people. And people are like, well, you shouldn't do that because somebody will hurt you. Well, here's where my superpower is. I'm strong enough that you can't do anything to hurt me. I can lay all my cards out on the table on this deck and I'll still beat you at the deck if you want to go down to it. You know what I mean? And if you can get to that point to where you use all your pain and all the shit that sucks that you live with to be able to connect with people, that's when you're winning.
And I think that actually makes a true connection with people. That, you know what I mean? Because everything else is just superficial. We all suffer the same way, right? Like
everybody's going through something. Everybody on this show right now is struggling with something. Everybody's had a first bad day. And if you think about why in the Marine Corps are we so close? All right. Did we get close at the bars? No.
We got close during the bad days. Yes,
we got close in the shit, right? Like the times we were on the fucking, it started in the hikes of us being fucking miserable in boot camp. And it's all those hard times that we got through with each other because we got to see how people broke down and then we like connected with them in those times. And that's where we miss it when we get out is we don't struggle. Like we don't struggle with other people. You know what I mean? Like we don't get close enough to do that with other people. And so like that's where we got to get to because we have something that we can provide to other people about how to overcome adversity. And that's our superpowers, right? Like we know what good and bad is. We know what perspective of what matters is. We know what love is like nobody else could ever fucking imagine. You know what I mean? Like we were willing to give our lives for people we didn't even know, for an idea we can't even see. In a country that we don't even know why the fuck we're there. We're willing to do it because we love this country so much. And the idea of freedom that we're willing to go do that. There's not too many people that you'll ever know or meet in your life that could even name to you right now what they would give their life for.
Well, something that you had said, I don't even know how long ago you said this, but you said something to the effect of like, I don't want to live another 9/11, but I want another 9/12, right? Yeah. And I think exactly what you're saying is stems out into society as well, because in society that at large, there's the same sort of situation that's going on, right? Yeah. Where people aren't minus the virus, right? People aren't struggling as much, right? So we're bitching about all this other shit that doesn't matter, right? And we're losing what it means to be American.
Yeah.
Right. And that's sort of like a larger scale of what's going on in the military, right? Or transitioning out of the military. It's a microcosm of that.
But here's the problem is like what you see going on in America is eventually going to trickle over into the military. So like,
it has.
It already has.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you why all this stuff's able to happen is because we've stopped struggling with each other.
Exactly.
We've stopped struggling with each other in America. We can make an Instagram that looks like everything's great. We can do all this stuff. We can make up this alternate reality that's not reality. We can hide our struggles and our weaknesses, and we're not there for each other. We're not there to support and to be able to be there for each other because nobody wants to open up and let each other know. You know what I mean? And I know it's all this soft, this and that, and blah blah blah, but it's truly what it is. It's truly what it is. And like we as veterans, we know how to suffer with each other and we know how to get through that. And we know how, whether you've been to combat or not, you know that much of the aspect of it. And what we have to do in America is find a way to turn all these struggles into, like, could you imagine if we all struggled that we all just said, fuck each other in the Marine Corps? Like every struggle we went through, we said, fuck each other in the Marine Corps and started rioting against each other. So in America, if we can find a way to change that perspective and humanitize, whatever it is.
I was trying to figure that one out too. Humanize.
If we can find a way to humanize each other, we could do that. We as veterans should be doing that. should be helping bring us together instead of dividing us even more. You know what I mean?
That's just the superpower right there, because definitely, and I mean, I'm sure there are some struggles, but when you're in, there's way more unity than when there is when you get out. And if you can just take that same thing, bring it towards each other. But like you said, like, how do you create the suck? How do you create the situation where people?
It's already
struggle
there,
together?
man. It's already there. It's already
called
there.
life.
It's life. It's life. The life.
Built in.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's already
Through the serving, get people together,
Hey,
serve together.
I don't
the community.
I don't think it's a coincidence that LIFESUCK. You know what I mean? It's even the same amount of letters. I just think that, like, it's already there. It's about how do we find a way to connect with our neighbors. You know what I mean? In the Marine Corps, I don't even remember looking at somebody and recognizing their skin color or carrying what religion they were or carrying what. I mean, do you ever even remember talking politics in the military?
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do we get America to that point?
Any ideas? I mean, I don't know. Like, let's brainstorm right now. Like,
I mean, I think it's going out every day, and like
it's interaction.
Tim Kennedy's the best at it. The dude will walk into a room and he'll always be what you'll never expect him to be. You know what I mean? Like, he's so good at looking at every angle. And what I feel like he tries to do every time, like, you'll go in, you'd be sitting with hippies, and you would think that Tim would, like, he's not this or that. He'll fit in with hippies. You know what I mean? And he'll I mean, it's just or he'll see some veterans doing this and he'll reverse a role. Like, you think, oh, he's all about guns and he is, or you think he's all hardcore this and that. And then he'll be what you don't think he's going to be, just to be able to challenge your mind to think a little bit fucking different. And that's what we have all these perspectives of being able to look at it and being able to give what we've seen and what we've experienced back to America in the right way. See, we come back and do it in a negative way of, like, oh, you're a fucking civilian, you didn't serve, you're less than me. Well, that's not the case, Corona, right? That's not the case.
You bless you.
But yeah, you know what I mean? It's not the case, because that just does nothing but divide us. We got to come back and tell our stories in a way that brings us all together. Like, whether it's a civilian, their worst day of their life, the worst day of my life is no more significant than the worst day of their life. We've all had the worst day of our life. I'm riding on a truck right now as an EMT and as a firefighter. And I'm going to tell you this: medics, EMS providers, and firefighters see way worse shit in a year than we ever see on deployment. They see more people die than we ever fucking seen. They see nastier, crazier, horrible shit than we've ever seen on an entire fucking career. And guess what? They still find a way to show up to be whatever they need to be, right? And try to make the world a better place. And if we can do that, if we as veterans can come back and do that, that's what service is.
I think it's a way of focusing on commonalities. I think, so a lot of things, it's almost cool to get together and talk about the things that we hate. Nobody's getting together too much to talk about things that we like, the things that put us together. Oh, you don't like that? I hate that too. Instead of like, hey, man, I loved it. Oh, you like that too? And I think just starting there, you find a lot of great commonality outside of the veteran community and with civilians. And
like, how cool
I work on, but
like, look, none of us here on this podcast agree on everything, but we can find something to relate. Like, why don't we just make the conscious choice to relate?
Yeah, I mean, even touching on what you posted the other day, that little video from the JRE clip.
Yeah.
About finding humanity and connecting with the individual that you ended up having to kill with a rock. I mean, if you can do that in that moment, what the fuck are we doing?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, we went and fought for a country that has, like, they don't believe in anything we believe in. You know what I mean? And we were able to do that. We were able to go over there and find a cause to be willing to give our lives there on soul that will never remember us. Why can't we do it here? Why can't we do it here? And I think that that's what veterans, instead of like, but here's the thing: is this attitude's contagious. attitude's contagious. So every time somebody's bitching about something, or like, I promise, for every negative thing that you have in your life, I consider and come up with 10 great things that you got. So you make the conscious choice of which one you focus on.
Figure it out. Well, listen, I'm gonna start wrapping this up.
All right.
Any parting words?
No,
You
I
said it
appreciate
all.
y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on. Had a good time. Sorry I got off on my soapbox.
No. We want you back on that soapbox.
Let's do it. Let's get another one together. Let's go. I appreciate y'all having me on. It's good meeting y'all.
Full send. All right, bro. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Elvin, you got anything to say?
Anything you'd like to promote real quick as far as website right now? What are you working on that we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, follow me on, go check out my podcast, Front Towards the Enemy. Got a book coming out next Father's Day. Me and Rob O'Neill got a book coming out together. It's going to be good. It's really badass. Go over and check out my Discipline Go Dak Savage drink with Jocko Willink, Origin Labs. Just a badass drink. Love it. Love Jocko. Love all of them. So yeah, that's it. Appreciate it.
I'm waiting on my good poster. My good canvas is coming in.
Hell yeah!
It's gonna be fucking sitting right there.
I like it.
So,
Send me a picture of when you get it.
Will do. Take care, bro. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Later.